Hello and welcome to the Blue Devil Podcast, the number one podcast in blue for all of your West Haven Blue Devil sport news. I'm Dominic Westie. We are currently in the second bye week for the West Haven High School boys varsity football team. And I gotta say, Connecticut High School football nearly the end of the regular season. NFL, though, nearing the mid-season. Hence, New York Jets. If you are a New York football fan, we cover the Buffalo Bills, New York Jets, and New York Giants. Or if you're just a West Haven Blue Devil sport fan, this is the place you want to be. Subscribe if you end up liking the vibe of this video. It is free to subscribe. It means a lot. And with that, West Haven is nearing an undefeated season, something that has been happening a lot recently for Connecticut high school football, but still something that is so historic for the school. And this whole season has been historic. West Haven has essentially blown out every team they face. They are coming off of a shaky win, though, against Hamden, where they took the lead in the final 40 seconds of play. Nick Collin to a Moy Weed touchdown pass put West Haven on top, taking down Hamden, who was undefeated at the time. Both teams came in 8-0 to Ken Strong Stadium, and you know what? That may not be the only time these two teams meet. We will get into that later on, though, in this video. So with that, going into their second and final bye week of this regular season, West Haven will head to Fairfield Prep to play the final game of the regular season, Thanksgiving Eve, for this year's Thanksgiving Bowl. Fairfield Prep has essentially been neck to neck with West Haven. Going back to 2004, West Haven has beaten Fairfield Prep 11 out of the 19 times. West Haven is 11-8 against Fairfield Prep since 2004, and that is so huge. These are two teams that have not really dominated over one another. These are two teams that have put up really good games. But biggest thing, though, when it comes to the most recent games, Fairfield Prep has owned West Haven. Last season, they beat West Haven 25-8. That was the game that knocked West Haven out of the playoffs. That is something that West Haven wants revenge for lack of better words. West Haven comes into this game going to Fairfield. They want revenge. West Haven overall, they've had a great offense. They've outscored their opponents 403 to 105. They have a great offense led by a sophomore quarterback, and they've had a great lockdown defense. I cannot stress that enough. This is a team that, though they have over 20 seniors on their team, this is a team that has great coaching and great player development. We may see a mini dynasty over the next several seasons, and I cannot stress that enough. And one thing I want to get on, last night, so Thursday night football, it was West Haven against Fairfield Prep for freshman football. So you got a lot of the young guys playing, a lot of the stars of tomorrow for the West Haven Blue Devils football program. Went to that game, saw the whole thing, and what a game that was. We have a lot of raw talent that's being developed, and it was very interesting seeing that game. There was a lot of plays that seemed like trick plays to me, something that you wouldn't see in a varsity game unless there's maybe under a minute left and you need to get a score on an onside kick. And I did see a lot of that, and I loved it because it's player development and it tests new things that possibly the varsity guys could use, see how it works in the lower levels and try things out. But nevertheless, great player development when it comes to quarterbacks, freshmen quarterbacks, sophomore quarterbacks. Nick Collin, he's a sophomore. He's going to be the Blue Devils quarterback for 2 more years after this, unless he decides to transfer. And if he does, most likely he would have an extra year if he does transfer. It doesn't look that way, though. There were a lot of rumors that he would. It does not look that way. And with the people I talked to, it does not seem like he will transfer after this season, which is great news for West Haven. As I mentioned, they're losing a lot of seniors. But the fact is, their big offensive wide receivers plus their quarterback Nick Collin and a lot of defensive assets, they're juniors right now. So West Haven will have at least 1 more year with these still big players as they develop. And one big player I want to look at who's a junior is Magic Mallory. You gotta love him. 6'2", uses the height to his advantage. You got a lot of tall football players that don't know what to do when they're really tall. He uses it to the advantage. 22 receptions this season for 362 yards and 4 touchdowns. My only problem is West Haven doesn't seem to target him enough. I've seen a lot of plays where he's just left wide open and there's an incompletion or interception that's nowhere near him. no one has been able to really guard this guy. You throw him a catchable pass or even a slightly hard pass or even a hard pass. Just throw the ball up in the air, keep it in bounds when you're throwing it. This guy will catch it, and he will most likely get yards after the initial reception, which is huge right there. This is a guy that could easily be an All-State wide receiver his senior year, and the fact that he's a junior just baffles me by his size and, frankly, football IQ skill level. Now, I also want to hit on Avion Evans, defensive player, 7 interceptions this season. 9 is the school record that was set in 2002. He has one more game to do it for this regular season. I don't think he's going to be able to get 2 interceptions against Fairfield Prep. Maybe 1. It really depends. Nevertheless, though, what a season this guy has had. Most likely, he will go All-State. He will have his name on a banner in the West Haven High School Gymnasium and put his name in the West Haven Athletic record books. And another guy, Savion Daniele, playing both ways now, filling in that fullback position for the injured Josiah Massey, who may have the opportunity to come back late in the playoffs, because West Haven, they have locked in a playoff spot. It's just a matter of how they're going to go now. So Josiah Massey may be in the playoffs, coming back from a lower body injury he sustained a few weeks ago. And that's going to be great. But I tell you, Savion, he has been filling in for Josiah just beautifully. When it comes to defensive stats, he has 1 forced fumble and 1 interception this season. Now, offense stats, he has not had that many touches because the injury to Josiah did happen near the back half of the season, but he's made the most of what he has had. 16 rushing, 16 carries for 99 rushing yards. This is a guy that has wheels. He just needs to get out there, and he will go down the field for that touchdown, no doubt about that. He's a senior. I don't think it's going to be an All-State caliber season for him. Maybe first team, a second team, all SEC. I could see that happening 100%. Nevertheless, this is a guy that has a lot of talent on his team, and I think if he goes on to play college football, he will be very successful with that talent. So getting back onto their quarterback, Nick Collins, 74 for 117 passing, that's a 63.2 completion percentage for 1,203 yards, 18 touchdowns to 3 interceptions, and a quarterback rating of 126.5. Nick Collins has been killing it in his sophomore season, and I cannot stress that enough. It's Thanksgiving Eve. Is he gonna roast the Fairfield Prep defense? I'm gonna love to see that game and how Nick handles it. When it goes up against Hamden, well, his stats were not the prettiest. He was 12 for 23 passing, 166 passing yards, 52.2% completion percentage with 2 touchdowns. This is a guy that looked really hesitant when it came to throwing the ball. He rolled out, looked like he was going to pass it. It left a lot of wide receivers open. Ended up running the ball and would be tackled. But you know what? He got the job done. He got the job done. A starting quarterback, any quarterback, does not have to go out there and throw for 300 yards a game to win. What he needs to do is get his team in position to win, and that's what Nick Collins did. And you know what? West Haven won that game. That's all I look at the end of the day. Is there room for improvement? Yes, there is, but that goes with any athlete. No matter how good an athlete is, there's always a section to improve on. Nick Collins, most likely, he will go All-State this season. 100%. Most likely, he will go All-State this season. And the fact that he's a sophomore is unbelievable, for lack of better words. It's unbelievable. It's great to see. I'm really excited to see what this guy could do his senior year. It's going to be amazing. So when it comes to playoff seeding, West Haven, as I mentioned before, they have a playoff seed locked in. You know, they will be in the playoffs. It's just a matter of what exact seed they will get. But I tell you this right now, things will most likely change. Well, if things stay how they are right now, West Haven will face Fairfield Prep round 1 at West Haven. So West Haven would play against Fairfield Prep for back-to-back games. That would be crazy. I would love to see that. I really would love to see that. West Haven needs to go into this game against Fairfield Prep Thanksgiving Eve treating it like it's a playoff game. Because very likely you will see this team in the playoffs a few days later. The only difference is you will have home field advantage. And then, right now Hamden, it's looking like they're going to go up against Staples. I think Hamden could take on Staples with that W, win that game, West Haven would most likely face Hamden then at home. Hamden back at Kent Strong Stadium. So West Haven could have a very, very hard first 2 rounds to get to that state championship game. And of course, the state championship game. Of course, that state championship game, it's played at a neutral site. But what a playoff season that this West Haven Blue Devils squad could have. They definitely have the talent to win the state championship. It's just a matter of if they will win. I think they could. They just cannot crack under pressure. Having them come back against Hamden show that they are very resilient and they are able to come back. Because this is a team that, like I said earlier, they've blown out every single team that they played against so far. This is a team that's not used to coming back. Well, you know what? They got mighty used to it few nights ago when they came back against Hamden. They proved that they could, and with that, West Haven is 9-0 as they go into Thanksgiving Eve. Comment down below what you guys think. I'm Dominic Westie. I'm signing out. Take it easy, folks.